Good afternoon, YouTube. It is I, Danielle, better known as Danielle, a happy medium. And in this video, up for topic of discussion today, we're going to talk about the saying of gone too soon, what happens to our loved ones who are taken a little sooner than we would like, is there a transition period, and all these topics that come under people who leave the earth plane and go back to the spirit world that little bit younger, or in a what I would call different way other than what was planned. And what I mean by when I say planned, I mean people who go over through suicide, people who go over through accidents, people who go over in a different way other than those who we know are going to go to the spirit world. Now, there's lots and lots of different theories out there and lots of different sort of ideas, concepts, and I really did want to get a greater understanding. So today, as I was sitting with my team, I asked the very question, and this is the information that I received back from the spirit world or from my team. Now, my team expressed to me that each and every one of us are down here learning lessons, and every one of us have got a certain particular path, journey, whatever it may be that we decided to take upon when we come here to the earth plane. And what happens is for people who go home that little bit sooner, or for those who take their own life in whatever way, shape or form, what has ultimately happened is that the earth world is here for lessons. So once we have learned all the lessons we need to learn, it's time for us to go back home with that knowledge to help the spirit world. We also have to take into consideration the human mind, because the human mind is always in control. It always has that free will element. So when we look at the people who have taken their own lives or people who have gone over through suicide, we have to take into element the human side as well as the lessons and whether or not the lessons have been learned. For most people who go back to the spirit world, they've learned their lessons. It's time for them to go back and they will go back to the spirit world, no problem. But for those who maybe have taken their life a little bit differently, or for those who've gone over in a different way, what we have to take into consideration is the human mind, because the human mind always has an element added in there. So when I asked a little bit about obviously people who went over in accidents and things like this, they said that that was their time. It was where they had learned their lessons, and ultimately it was ready and right for them to go back to the spirit world. So then I asked about those who take their own life, and again what I was given there is this had a lot to do with the human mind, and that the human mind was involved in that sort of scenario. So then I said, well, what happens to obviously those who are stuck between two worlds, these types of things. My guides assured me that there was nobody who got stuck between this world and the next world. Excuse me. Nobody gets stuck. Nobody. Everybody goes over to the spiritual realms. So then I asked the question of, well, what happens about all this sort of healing and these types of things, time and, all these questions that I hear so readily in spiritualist groups, you lot asking me. So they said, Danielle, nothing needs healing. There's nothing wrong with the soul when it goes back towards the spirit world. There's nothing wrong with the soul when it's here. What we have to understand is that sometimes the spirit world or the spirit just needs a little bit more time to understand and become aware that they've gone back to the spirit world and that they have to adjust. And I said, so does that stop them coming through? He went, no. He says that does not stop them coming through at all. It just means that they're adjusting. They're not healing. They're not stuck anywhere. They're not having any sort of fixing. They're just adjusting from the physical world back to the spiritual world. That's all they mean by the word or expression of healing, time, these types of things. Because for you as a medium, I'm very intrigued. I'm very interested to know exactly what goes on up there. I'm very curious. I'm very interested in hearing what the spirit world have to say. I see a lot on, social media, and different platforms and whatever it may be. But I really do like to see what the spirit world have to say and what their concept is of, time, healing. And it was, my guide said to us, it's very much a bit like us down here, we like words and we like to label things. And it's not actually like that in the spirit world. They don't have labels. Where we see things as time and healing, they see it as just a transition. They see it as a transition from this world to the next world, where we have to put labels on it, so it's healing or time or whatever it may be. It's like we say people have taken their own lives and things like that. What the spirit world see it as is they've learned their lessons. It's time for them to go home. There is no indifference in when you go home and when you not go home. To the spirit world, everybody has their time, everybody has their lessons to learn, and everybody has their concept. So then I said to them, well, that's not going to really sit very well with my lovely folk down here. I says, because ultimately we have to take into consideration the grief, and we have to take into consideration how them loved ones say things. And he said to me, well, you have to understand that we all choose the families in which that we reside within. Each and every one of us, it is a design, or it is an acceptance when we come here to the earth plane. And what he said was, is there's also a learning experience in there for the people who are left behind. He says, and therefore they have their own lessons to master with that connection to losing this loved one that little bit sooner, or in a different sort of way there. So I really, really wanted to talk a little bit about what the spirit world had to say and how they say it, preferably a lot differently to us down here. So I said to them, well, how do I explain that to the people who are watching my videos? You know, how do I explain that to them? And what he said is you have to accept and understand that all of us will have experiences. All of us will go through different experiences here to the earth plane, and all of them are subsequently good for a learning and growth. He says, unfortunately, not many humans see it that way, and humans will want to see it as a different way because everybody's different. We all have a different perspective on it. But in essence, in this video, I wanted to really talk about people who had been gone too soon or taken too soon. Was there a particular issue with healing, you know, souls being stuck, these types of things? And short to that answer was no from the spirit world. And when I asked, was each and every loved one, you know, that have gone to the spirit world in that sort of capacity in a good place? And I was told, yes, every soul that goes back to the spirit world is in a good place. They need a little time to adjust, but all are in a good place, and all know that their journey will continue on within the spirit world, and that they can come back and communicate at any time if and when they choose to. So in essence, to the particular video topic up for discussion today, the soul is perfect in every way. It does not need healing when it goes back to the spirit world, only in a period of adjustment time. And that can be as quick or as easy as that loved one chooses to do so. For those who question why people take their own life, or why there may be a connection to suicide, we always have to take into consideration the human mind and where that human mind may be. And that again is something that is within the human and has something to do with the human body and nothing of the soul. And with connections to accidents or people who go that little bit sooner, what we have to appreciate is that they've learned all they need to learn down here, and that it's now time for them to go back towards the spirit world. And would we really want to stop their progress? That's the question my God gave to me. Do we really want to stop their progress? Or the spirit world understands we love them, and that it is really sad when they go to the spirit world. But what we also have to understand and accept is that that soul's going to continue to grow and evolve, and they've done all the growing and evolving they can do down here. So would we really want to stop their growth? Maybe not. It's a question you have to ask yourself. So in this video, our topic up for discussion today, we talk about people who've gone that little bit sooner. And are all of them fitting well on the other side? Of course they are. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it sort of give you a little bit more insight into, you know, how the spirit world perceives these particular topics, and hopefully it'll sort of broaden your knowledge set there. For those who have lost people a little bit sooner, my condolences always go with you, and, you know, my thoughts are always with the families. I have to say that I am on a live tonight here on YouTube, so if you maybe want to come along and watch me talk about the subject of mediumship, psychic ability, development, or just general knowledge about the spirit world, I'll be here from about 8 o'clock this evening. I look forward to all those who will join me. Leave some likes, some shares, comments in the box. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and I'll see you all very, very soon.